Susan sat on the smooth obsidian bench at the center of the Galactic Exchange Academy, hands folded neatly on her lap, calm as a moonlit lake. To anyone passing by, she looked like a fragile Terran student, quiet, bookish, wholly unremarkable. But the more experienced beings gave her a wide berth. They understood the truth whispered in Academy corridors. Humans came from a death world, a planet so hostile that its dominant species had evolved into near miracles of adaptability, resilience, and controlled aggression. Susan represented that last part especially well. Evan knew it better than anyone. He stood a dozen paces away, pretending to scroll through his holopad while his eyes lingered on Susan. He admired her quiet strength. She didn't brag. She didn't posture. She simply existed with a serene focus that paradoxically intimidated half the Academy's students. The other half wanted to test her. And today, unfortunately, one of them would. The day began with a dull rumble, the kind that signaled the arrival of a ship far too large for student use. The ground vibrated, lights flickering, and students glanced up nervously. The vessel that descended bore the fractal emblem of the Threx Coalition, a species infamous for their arrogance and overwhelming physical force. From the ship stepped Drath, a towering Threx youth with armored plates for skin and a crown of ridged horns. He scanned the courtyard, scoffing at the small, diverse group of scholars before him until his gaze settled on Susan, a tiny human girl sitting alone. Perfect prey, he thought. Evan noticed Drath's approach and muttered a curse under his breath. He rushed to Susan's side, stopping just short of her bench. "Susan," he whispered urgently, "don't react. He's new. He doesn't know." She looked up from her datapad, her expression soft. "I'm not the one we need to worry about reacting." Evan swallowed. True. Drath's heavy steps thudded across the courtyard. Students backed away, whispering warnings that went ignored. Susan didn't even glance up. She turned a page with perfect tranquility. "You!" Drath growled, his shadow swallowing the bench. "Stand!" She didn't. Evan stepped forward protectively. "Leave her alone. Humans don't want trouble." Drath shoved Evan aside, not hard enough to injure him, but with clear condescension. "I'm not speaking to you, herbivore." Evan bristled at the insult, but Susan gave a slight shake of her head. Drath leaned closer, armored plates clacking. "I heard Deathworld species think they're superior. Show me. Stand." Still calm, Susan set her datapad aside. "I would rather not." Her refusal was soft, polite, and to Drath, deeply infuriating. He reached for her collar. Not to kill, not even to injure, just to humiliate, to show dominance. But he had made the oldest, most catastrophic mistake in the Galactic Handbook of Survival. He touched a Deathworlder with hostile intent. To the untrained eye, what happened next seemed instantaneous. But Evan, who had trained alongside Susan, saw the moment her calm evaporated like mist under sunlight. Her eyes sharpened, her muscles coiled, every instinct awakened. Susan rose with effortless speed, intercepting Drath's grip before it closed around her. Her hand caught his wrist, small fingers around massive armor. Drath tried to jerk away. He failed. Around them, whispers turned into stunned silence. "Susan," Evan said quietly, "you don't have to." But he knew she did. Not because she wanted violence, but because biology and instinct demanded response when threatened. Even so, Susan kept her voice steady. "Release me," she warned, even though he wasn't holding her anymore. "Walk away. Please." Drath's pride couldn't allow it. With a roar, he lunged. Susan didn't roar. She didn't posture. She simply moved. Efficient, precise, terrifying in its simplicity. She twisted his momentum aside, one fluid motion, one calculation perfected over centuries of human evolution. There was a crack. Not gory, not gruesome, just the cold, final sound of an opponent overestimating himself. Drath collapsed, stunned and immobilized on the ground. His body armor protected him from worse injury. His pride, however, lay shattered. The courtyard froze. Susan exhaled slowly, letting her adrenaline fade. She crouched beside Drath, inspecting him with clinical calm. "Your spinal crest is misaligned but intact. You will recover within 2 cycles." Drath blinked up at her, dazed. "You warned me." "I did," she replied. "I prefer peace, but you didn't give me another choice." He managed a weak laugh, amazingly respectful. "Deathworlders. Terrifying. Only when necessary." 2 Threx attendants rushed over, lifting their fallen comrade. He waved them off weakly. "Don't touch me. I want to remember this." Susan stepped back. Evan finally released the breath he'd been holding. "You okay?" She brushed dust from her sleeves. "He'll be fine." "I meant you." She paused. Then finally, a small smile curved her lips. "Also fine." Word of the incident spread through the academy like wildfire, not because Susan had subdued a Threx, humans had done that before, but because she'd done it with such restraint. Other species, hardened by combat or displays of dominance, found themselves reevaluating what true strength meant. 2 days later, Drath approached her again. Not to fight, but with something incredibly rare from his species: humility. He bowed, a stiff, awkward motion, but genuine. "Susan of Terra, I challenged you in ignorance. I request to learn your discipline." Susan blinked. "My discipline?" "Your calm, your control." Susan glanced at Evan, who gave an encouraging nod. "You may join our training group," she said at last, "but you will follow the first rule." Drath frowned. "Which is? Never touch a human without permission." Evan chuckled. Drath sighed. "A wise rule." Weeks passed. Drath trained alongside them, learning not only self-defense, but humility, balance, and the very thing he once misunderstood: human restraint. Susan remained calm, always serene, always composed, the Deathworld girl who reacted only when absolutely necessary. And the academy changed because of her. Students walked with more respect, more awareness of limits and boundaries. Diplomacy workshops filled to capacity. Even the Threx Coalition ambassador sent a formal acknowledgement. Strength is not in dominance. It is in discipline. Susan simply continued her routine, studying, training, sipping her tea in the courtyard, calm as a moonlit lake, until someone gave her a reason not to be. And now the galaxy understood why that was the last thing anyone should ever want.